Welcome to Life Recovery Today with Stephen Arterburn. In the next half hour, you'll obtain insights and tools to transform your life using the biblical principles found in the 12-step program. We believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience because we all have struggles in life. Struggles with addictions, food, depression, anxiety, and relationships, to name a few. You'll be encouraged to see how others have found a new way of life with hope for the future through life recovery. Your host is Steve Arterburn, founder of New Life Ministries and Women of Faith, author of over 100 books, and teaching pastor at Northview Church in Carmel, Indiana, one of the 20 largest churches in America. Steve is the co-editor of the Life Recovery Bible, the #1 selling recovery Bible. With over 3 million copies sold, this is the Bible given to inmates by Prison Fellowship and the Pew Bible for the Salvation Army. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, Steve Arterburn here. Welcome to Life Recovery Today, and we've got a great guest for you, Terri Ward. She is the coordinator of all the life recovery groups at New Life. You're going to love her story and what she's been up to. She's one of those people, she reminds me of my wife, who you don't just recover, you start getting involved in helping other people get their act together and in recovery. You know, when we look at the third step in life recovery or any recovery program, we make this decision, finally make a decision. We know we can't handle things, we realize God can, and we make this decision for God to take our will and our life, we turn it over to Him, right into His care. That's that third step. Well, what if there was somebody in your life that was kind of like this, kind of like a bowling ball? Now, how much transformation could a bowling ball undergo under the hand, under the care of God? Well, it's still going to be heavy. It's still going to be powerful if transformed by God. You know, this bowling ball type person that, just smashes up against anyone, strikes at anything, spares no one. You know, that kind of person. They're very powerful and very attractive too. But when that person, as strong and powerful and deadly as they can be, when that person finally turns their will and their life over to God, they don't have to roll so fast. They don't have to knock down everything that's standing in their way. They can stay out of the gutter if God is leading their path. No, it doesn't take a bowling ball and turn it into jello, which a lot of times is the fear of a powerful and strong person, that if they surrender, if they give up, they're going to lose who they are. No, you just become all the good and wonderful things that God wants you to be, but you could never achieve on your own. Maybe you've been messing around with thinking, can I handle it or not? And you realize you can't. And you've wondered, would God or wouldn't God? Well, a lot of people are evidence that God would be able to transform your life, and He will transform your life. But you have to be willing to turn it over to Him. No jello. You'll be great. You'll be okay. We'll take a break. We'll come right back with more of Life Recovery Today with Terri Ward.
Are you going through your struggles alone? Do you want someone to talk to help you through your pain? Do you feel like a failure when you relapse again, telling yourself, next time will be different? Don't walk this path alone anymore. Join a life recovery group today and be a person that your friends and family can be proud of. God created us to be in community, and we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country, and if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. Life Recovery brings recovery to you, right where you are. You'll take a journey with others to find healing and freedom. Whether you're looking to join a group or start one, New Life Ministries is here for you. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or visit liferecoverytoday.net.
Welcome back to Life Recovery Today. Steve Arterburn here, and I want to introduce you to somebody who's making a difference, and we're hoping that she's going to make a bigger difference than ever before. Terri Ward, she's been in recovery since 2008, and that's after about 20 years of a lot of struggle, a lot of heartache. But she got into recovery, and then after recovery, which has happened so often, and we're excited that it does, there wasn't just some higher power. Jesus Christ became her higher power. She came to work at New Life, and we were thrilled to get to know her. And the more we came to know her, the more we realized she could do much more than she was doing. And so we have just said, okay, how about we turn over the Life Recovery program here and you coordinate with all the groups. And I'm telling you, she's not just somebody that read about recovery, nor is she just somebody that is in recovery, but she's helping other people. She's reaching out and she's running groups and doing all sorts of great things. She has 4 cats. Each of them are in their own recovery program. And so we're glad that they are. She has 1 daughter and a husband named Michael, who is a pastor, and they're moving up to Oklahoma. It's going to be great for them, I hope. But Terri Ward, thank you for joining me here on Life Recovery Today.
Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure, Steve.
Okay, well, I'm going to start with you, kind of where I start with a lot of folks. What was the big struggle that you dealt with, and how bad did it get? Tell us about that part of your life that is no longer a part of your life.
Absolutely. Yes. So I had a very strict childhood. So when my parents divorced, I had a lot of freedom, and that freedom, what I did with that was I just wanted to have fun. So in doing that, I started experimenting with alcohol and weed, and hanging out with older boys, and that just led to eventually becoming pregnant at 16. And shortly after my daughter was born, I discovered meth. And when I discovered meth, I absolutely fell in love and was addicted in almost no time.
Now, let me ask you a quick question.
Yes.
So at 16, you're pregnant. Your parents are divorced. How did you decide to have the baby versus make the horrific decision that I did and pressured my girlfriend to have the abortion? How did you come to that conclusion, I'm going to have this baby?
Oh, yes. There was really never any question in my mind that I wanted her. The situation was not ideal, but I wanted her, and no one could tell me otherwise. So, and there was a lot of opinions, but no, I was adamant that I was going to have her. And
was your boyfriend supportive?
Choice.
Was your boyfriend supportive?
He came on board. He came along. Mm-hmm. He did come along, and he's still very much in her life. And yes, so awesome. But yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah.
And so then you have the baby, and here you are, this new mother, and you discover what a lot of folks stumble onto: methamphetamines, right?
Yes. Nightmare.
Tell us about that.
Yes, so this went on off and on for about 20 years, mostly on, off and on, but mostly on, and everything that goes along with it. There's a lot of darkness and activities that go along with drug use, and I experienced a lot, just a whole lot of some things and a little bit of everything. So a lot of relationships just marked by deception and manipulation and infidelity, relationship after relationship. I hurt a lot of people, and I was hurt by a lot of people. But kind of like a bowling ball rolling through lives.
There you go. Well, what was it that caused you, after, that was a long time to be involved with meth. What happened that started to change? Didn't just put you in recovery, but you started toward something different.
Mm-hmm. Well, rehab, I went to rehab a couple of times and I did really well while I was in rehab. But as soon as I would come out, I wasn't willing to do anything different. I wasn't willing to do the work that was involved with staying sober. And so I progressively got worse and worse. Until I realized at one point, I'm no longer having fun. In the beginning, it was all about fun, and then it was fun with problems, and then it turns into nothing but problems. And that's where I found myself alone with my drugs, all alone, not having fun anymore. And So
what did you do? What was the first step toward change? You'd been
Absolutely.
in treatment before. What happened this time that was different?
This time, like I said, I found myself alone with my drugs in the floor of my apartment, and I just cried out to the God that I remembered from childhood, didn't have a relationship with, but I cried out, "Help me." I knew I couldn't live with it anymore, and I knew I couldn't live without it, and I had to have help. Not much changed right away, but within about a week, I found myself at the wrong place at exactly the right time and landed in jail.
Oh my.
So 3 days in jail, I got out and I called an old friend, and she'd been after me for a while to go to a meeting with her. She had about 18 months sober, and I called her. I said, "Let's go."
What was that meeting like? The first meeting? Oh my
yes.
goodness.
Yeah, so I expected to see a bunch of miserable people clinging to the edge of the table, white knuckling it, so to speak, just miserable, right? And I walk in, and this room is full of people who are happy, joyous, and free. And they're on mission, every one of them on a mission. And I was so surprised, but I was like, yes, I want this. I can do this. And so I got a sponsor, started working the steps. And so 1 and 2 were easy for me because 1, I knew I was licked. And 2, I had just enough understanding of God to get off of step 2 and on to step 3. So, there I was in the meeting, and, I looked at my friend who had 18 months sober. She was way worse than I ever was. And here she was free. So I said, I want what she has. And so I got on my knees right there in the middle of the meeting, surrounded by people who had gone before me, willing to come alongside me. And I offered myself to God, as I understood him in that moment, to build with me and do with me as he willed. And boy, did he. Boy, did he. Yes.
Oh, man.
Radical transformation.
What a great story from a couple of perspectives. One, there was that friend that you knew, and so many folks, you're in recovery, and there's somebody that may need you, and so you want to stay connected to those people. But here you had the friend. You go to the meeting, and the meeting's a good meeting. A lot of times people go and maybe they don't have such a great experience. The other thing is you got a sponsor immediately and started working the steps. And so often we hear people just go to a meeting, they don't think it's that big a deal, and they don't go back to a meeting for a couple of years. But I love those pieces of this story. I want to take a break, and I want to come back. I want to talk about the other side of that first meeting. And Terri, it's great to hear what God is doing with you after all the stuff that happened up to this point. We'll take a break and come right back.
It's hard to find a trusted friend when you're in crisis. Someone who's been there and understands, but who also has the training and skill to give you practical help. Family, friends, and churches want to help, but often they're not equipped to care for those dealing with problems like addiction and pornography, infidelity, anger, depression. New Life Ministries is here to provide help and hope in life's hardest places. We're not focused on making people feel better. We're focused on helping people do the work that will help them be better. At New Life, we have resources available to help you, like books, DVDs, CDs, workshops, and our network of licensed counselors. If you need help, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and begin your new life today.
Welcome back to Life Recovery Today, talking with Terri Ward. She is the coordinator of our Life Recovery groups, and if you want to talk with her, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, that's the number that you could call. Well, Terri, you talked about, you go to this group, you get a sponsor, start working the program. What happened after that?
Yeah, so I really quickly started sponsoring women and carrying the message to treatment centers, local treatment centers, giving meetings everywhere that anyone would let me. And this was about 8 months into it. About that time, I started to sense that there was probably something more. And my brother at that time shared the gospel with me. And he was like, I am so glad that you are sober, but you need to know Jesus. And so I said, tell me about Jesus. And at that point, Jesus became my higher power. And, I started reading the Bible, and I found 2 Corinthians 1:9, which in the Easy Reader version, the ERV, just kidding, it says, we felt we were doomed to die and saw how powerless we were to help ourselves, but that was good, for then we put everything into the hands of God, who alone can save us. And I was like, that's 1, 2, and 3 right there in that scripture. And so I realized that I could integrate what I knew from the 12 steps with what I'm seeing and learning in the Bible. And so, I found a Bible teaching church and started asking, can I start a group? Can I start a group? Can I start a group? And they were a little hesitant at first. But then one day at a church picnic, in the park, a struggling addict showed up, and they said, Terri, start your group. So right there in the middle of the park, this young, precious lady and I sat down, and we did a foundation meeting right there, just the two of us. And I started sponsoring her. Yes. And the group started with just the two of us, and there was a room full of empty chairs, but I would talk to the empty chairs as if they were full. And one by one, little by little, they started filling up, and there, boom, we had it. We had a recovery group right there in the middle of the church.
Awesome. How many, that first meeting would be how long after you went to your first meeting?
It was in 2010, so 2 years. 2
years later. Wow, that is so great to hear. Now, I want you to just share, because some people, they do everything that you've done, and then they're right back where they were. What do you think is the key to you not relapsing, but moving forward to become who you are today? What's a real key in that?
Recovery is every day. You don't go to a meeting once a week. You don't think about recovery once a week. It's every day. So it's getting involved. It's having accountability. It's teaching others what you've been taught. It's giving what you've been giving. It's every day. You've got to be active. And I know you say all the time, recovery is today, because tomorrow never comes. I love that. And I mean, it's so true. It starts today.
I'm thrilled that the church let you, that you didn't have to go through some kind of rigorous program or something like that. And there's your group. I love it that you had the empty chairs. They started to fill up. That's fantastic. Your willingness is what I see so much of. It stands out in every way. Briefly, tell us, what is life like now as you are in recovery, you're helping other people, and now you've taken on this new assignment with New Life? What is life like now?
Oh, well, I am overjoyed to get to be a helper's helper. That's how I view this new role, is that I get to help people, and so that's so exciting. My relationships today are not marked by what's in it for me. It's about what can I contribute? How can I help? How can I be a woman of integrity? So everything is different today. My motivations are different today. And there's so many people out there who are waiting for, something to change in them. And I'm saying, pray for the willingness, to have the willingness to get started.
Amen. Yeah.
Get started today.
So I really do think it's so outstanding in your case, the willingness piece, and I think so many people aren't willing to do the hard work, to work the steps, to even get a sponsor. And so recovery kind of becomes lifeless, dead, and then the lure of that past life takes over. Tell us about your husband and how he relates to you, recovery, and all of those things.
Yes. Oh, he's so supportive. He is a disciple maker. That's his passion, is teaching and helping people, cultivate. Or he wants to cultivate leaders who lead, and so it's God knew exactly what he was doing when he put us together. He has a history himself, and he was miraculously delivered. So he understands, and we're on mission together. It's a great pair. It's a great
Oh,
thing.
that's awesome. I love that, and here are two different stories. One, there's deliverance, and the other one is working the steps, sponsor, going to meetings. And it just shows you that God works differently, uniquely in different people's lives. One of the things that's so troubling to me is that when someone is delivered, which I think that's God giving this gift of taking the obsession and compulsion away so you can go to work on yourself. It's not so difficult, touch and go. And then some people, that's all they ever do. But I think if you're delivered from that obsession, compulsion, drive, addiction, you have the advantage of being able to focus and work on stuff. But it's still, for you, it's just the beginning. Nobody gets delivered into instant wisdom or instant brilliance in the area or character. And so you're saying your husband is that man of character, and you guys have a great connection, even though the paths were totally different.
Absolutely. Yes.
So
Yes.
if somebody's watching and they're struggling, and maybe the fun stuff isn't fun anymore, what do you say to them? Encourage them to get the help they need.
Absolutely. Do it today. Do it today. Get a sponsor. Find a meeting. Find a life recovery meeting. Let me help you find a life recovery meeting. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'll help you find a recovery meeting. Get a life recovery Bible. Start reading. Be in it every day. Recovery is every day. Your addiction is every day. Your addiction was every day. Pursue recovery with the same passion that you pursued addiction. Come on, give us a call. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We're here to help.
Well, Terri, I love hearing your story. I'm so grateful that you came our way. I love the heart that you have to help other people, and it must have been there from the very beginning, and that the addiction, the meth, just shut it down for a while. But here, it didn't take you long to get involved in restoring people's lives and helping them. And now I'm just hoping that anybody who's struggling would call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terri Ward, or if you're interested in starting a group in your church, Terri can help you with that. There are materials available, and of course all of this is based on that great tool, the Life Recovery Bible. Terri Ward, thank you for sharing your story with us. Thanks for being on Life Recovery today. We'll take a break. We'll come right back, and I want to talk to you a little bit more about willingness.
Life recovery isn't just about making the courageous choice to give up an addiction or dependency. It's a journey towards health, wholeness, and becoming your very best you. If you need resources to help you in your journey, we can help. There are many life recovery resources that you can do on your own, with a group, or with your church. We have Bibles, workbooks, and devotionals that you can use to work your recovery right where you are. That's the beauty of life recovery. To learn more or to get the Life Recovery Bible or any other life recovery resource, visit liferecoverytoday.net or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Welcome back to Life Recovery Today. I love that verse, 2 Corinthians 1:9, that Terri Ward quoted. And, essentially that verse says we're doomed. We're in trouble. Everything leads to our death until we finally turn everything over to our God. The God that can take the tough stuff and the easy stuff and use it to transform our lives. But it requires this thing, and it's called willingness. In life recovery, there are 12 laws, and one of those laws is the law of willingness. And the law says this, that willingness is always going to result in growth when what we're willing to do is something that God has been calling us to. I don't care where you are, what you've been doing, but I believe with all my heart that the God of the universe, the God of all those billions of light years away, planets and all that, has made room for you in His heart. And I believe that even when we're in recovery, we can drift away, but God's continuing to call us back to Him. He's made a place in who He is for us. And the Bible says that He is not just a loving God, but He is love. God is love. And that love is so powerful that it transforms us when we submit and surrender willingly to it. And I also think that when we experience God's love in a transforming way, it transforms us to love other people in a way we never ever dreamed. I think about myself. I used to offend everybody and I never even knew it. Now I offend people and I know it. No, but I feel it, I sense it. And I don't want it to be that way. So He's continuing to help me transform my love of other people, even though, boy, it was really in a crummy state before God. God never gives up on us. He never stops transforming us. Our willingness will keep us growing. Well, I hope you'll be willing to join me here again next week on Life Recovery Today. In the meantime, grab one of those Life Recovery Bibles and start to study God's Word like you've never studied before. And if you need to get in touch with Terri Ward about your own recovery or a church recovery program, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. See you next time.
Thanks for joining us for Life Recovery Today with Stephen Arterburn. We hope this program has helped you integrate God's truth and wisdom into your recovery journey. This program is brought to you by New Life Ministries, and it's your support that keeps this program on the air. When you contact us for any reason, be sure to let us know that you watch on NRB. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to liferecoverytoday.net. Please join us again next week for more Life Recovery Today.